I sold gari that we use cup to measure. There are 5 naira gari, 10 naira gari. Eh? And then we have the ones that if you want to buy a whole Congo of gari, 25 naira. Now, I am sounding like this is ancient. Now, if you are watching me as Indomie generation, I am probably sounding ancient, like, that must be 1960. No. I am talking about 10, 12 years ago. So even if there is inflation, if there is inflation, at least the minimum wage should at least correspond with the inflation, Abi. If the inflation they are telling you is 26%, 28%, 30%, if it's actually 30%, right, that means the value of your 100 naira, let's say the value, I mean, the inflation 10 years ago, as they presented it then, right, let's say it was 2% or 3% or even 5%, okay? And today, the inflation is 30%. Okay. So that what that should mean, if that is true, that's why I told you don't listen to all these economic jargons to deceive you. If you can put your hand in your pocket and bring out your naira, and you say, okay, you see, this 100 naira 10 years ago, I could use, I could use it to buy a loaf of bread. For example, let's say a loaf of bread, big size, 100 naira. But you see, that same size loaf of bread today is now 130 naira. So that simply means, Nigeria naira has lost about 30% of its value. That's the inflation. And you can put that on everywhere and say, okay, things have gone up by 30%. Things have gone up by 30%. But things have gone up by over 500% in Nigeria. How do you explain? Somebody who was paying the school fees of 24,000 naira and they increased it to 260,000 naira. Would you call that 30% increase? And what do you think that is going to affect? It is going to go and affect whatever money they put elsewhere. That 24,000 naira, what 24,000 naira could take care of? Now, 260,000 naira will have to take care of that. Wherever that money is going to come from. Same service, but more cost of value, even probably less service or less value for more payment. So it's all about the money now. It's got no real value thanks to these criminals. And they are still doing it. It is still being done. Still being done. So today, a dollar is 1,428 naira. And in 8 months, Tinubu and gang, they have not given a dime to any real sectors in Nigeria. But go and search the news. They've said a lot. We are working to, you will soon see our work. Our work is to make sure that, manufacturing companies, you want to have a manufacturing companies without electricity. How is that even possible? What is their investment in electricity in the last 8 months? Zero. Zero. So how do you build on zero? Building on lies. And then turn around and be like, it is some people that are not letting the government work. They are doing absolute zilch, nothing. And they want you to believe that it takes time for things to work. And I am telling you right now that if there is anything they are doing at all, it is to dig you further into misery. All of their actions. Refineries are working. That's what their central bank said. It said refineries are now working in Nigeria. Man, there is no refinery working in Nigeria. And then he said the price of petroleum is going to go down. Of course, if the price of petroleum should go down in Nigeria, you would expect that to affect other things, Abi. Other things to also sort of begin to go down, right? That is where you have the voodoo economy. And these ones, they are voodoo economists. These guys are rent seekers, rent takers. They are just there to take from you. They have no idea how to give it back to you. That is why they believe that to fight poverty in a country like Nigeria, they will need to give money to the poorest people to lift them out of poverty by giving 30 pounds, 40 pounds to market men and women to start business in Nigeria, because the idea of how do people get out of all of this? Let's just give them money. Maybe some of them, when we start giving them money and they can eat, they will begin to not feel like they are poor. Our voodoo economists. Listen to this.
Foremost among the factors contributing to this positive outlook is the expectation of improved crude oil prices and production, highlighting the crucial role the oil industry is expected to play in driving economic growth. Inflationary pressures are expected to decline in 2024 due to the CBN's inflation targeting policy, which aims to rein in inflation to 21.4%. This will be aided by improved agricultural productivity and the easing of global supply chain pressures. We believe that the Naira is currently undervalued, and coupled with coordinated measures on the fiscal side, we will expedite genuine price discovery in the near term. We are implementing a comprehensive strategy to improve liquidity in our FX markets in the short, medium, and long term. Our focus is on addressing fundamental issues that have hindered the effective operation of our markets.
That's Cardoso, the central bank governor for Tinubu. And again, you heard all of the economic jargons. The reality on ground, they do not correlate with the nonsense he's saying there on TV. Okay, I want to explain that to you so that you understand it in a layman terms. Layman, me and you, when me and you want to kind of explain things to ourselves without using all those economic nonsense and jargons. The same mistakes, the same avenue created by Emefiole and Bokwari to siphon the central bank money, the people's money, into private pockets. In fact, going as far as taking loans, ridiculous conditional loans, to fund all of these bogus, fraudulent schemes. How many of you remember when Emefiole and the Bokwari and then the clan of the Sai barbarians, when they took over $2 billion, that's like over 2 trillion naira worth of loan from the African Development Bank, because they wanted to give the money to the farmers that will grow rice, and Nigeria will stop importation of rice. So they stopped the importation of rice, and they gave the money, according to them, they gave the money to the farmers across Nigeria. At the end of the day, they could barely see a trailer of rice. Not just that, they had to put up a show in Abuja, sand fill some bags, sawdust in some other bags, and they built pyramid in the rain. Who would dare put paddy rice in bags, unfinished, unprocessed, and put them in the open, in the rain? The giant of Africa has no silo or storage system that could take all his own harvest. So they had to show it off, and took pictures only for the sawdust and the sandbags to disappear after that. And then the result came afterward. It was all a huge loss. 90% of those they gave the money to could not repay back the money, because majority of them have become refugees in IDP camps. Others have been killed. Most of the farms have been taken over by the terrorists, who are now collecting taxes from those farmers that Nigerian government gave money to start farms. Now, they have no return on the investment. It's part of the probe. They are probing Emefiole now. And that is what Cardoso is also doing. You know why? Tinubu said is acquired the 500,000 acres of land across Nigeria, one of them in Jigawa. And in fact, they have started spending money there in order to grow food and combat this blah, 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 blah. And guess what? They have spent over 100 billion on this strange farm in Jigawa, started by by Tinubu in September. That's what they said, though. Central bank funded, just like others. And then he said, there is a crude production going on in Nigeria. They are also lying to you on that. The stealing of crude oil in Nigeria has continued, or should I say resumed, in a very different, steady way. They said they were expecting to sell a barrel of crude oil in their budget. They were planning to sell a crude oil at 76 naira or $76 per barrel, right? And that is likely going to happen or not, as the projection is, or you know what I mean. So they were waiting to have that, and they said they expect the daily production to be about 1.5 million barrels a day. Now they are not telling you. They are not telling you that the production of crude oil in Nigeria right now is now tilting towards below 1 million barrels a day. Under Buhari, when this Egbekegbe came in 2015, Nigeria oil production, daily production was at 1.8 million with the capacity to produce 2.1 million barrels a day. But when these criminals came, right, they opened the door for their own bunkers, right? They're bringing ships after ships after ships, right, to load Nigeria crude oil on the safe water, protected by the Nigerian Navy. They just accused one of them now that he collected $150 million or so in order to help those crude oil smugglers. They are denying it. At the same time, they are talking about investigating it. Under Buhari, oil production in Nigeria dropped from 1.8 million barrels a day to almost 800,000 barrels a day. They were losing 700,000 barrels on account, and they have all these meters set up that could tell them the pressure wherever crude oil is being stolen and all that, right? They spend so much money to monitor all of that, but 8 solid years, Nigeria was losing over 700,000 barrels of crude oil every day to oil thieves. They have resumed again. This time around, I have no idea. Maybe it is even 1 million barrels they are stealing every day right now. At the end of the day, you will realize that Nigeria probably will not make a dime from crude oil anymore. 8 years of Buhari, ask their NNPC how much crude oil they sold and how much was the money and where is the money. Nobody knows. At a point, right, NNPC was no longer declaring if they were selling crude oil or not. They just resorted to Emefiole printing out money. Emefiole was printing money that they were sharing to states in Nigeria to cover up the stolen crude oil in Nigeria. So under Tinubu, they are selling you the bobo of producing 1.5 million barrels a day when they are actually producing far less than that. You know they are lying, Abi, or you don't know they are. Ask them for the money. Put all of the money together. You know, now royalty in Nigeria, they collect from a crude oil sale, right? Royalty, Nigeria does not produce any crude oil by itself. It doesn't like extract its own crude oil by itself, right? Nigeria doesn't. So what they do is that when the oil companies, when they extract the crude oil for Nigeria, they also process them onto how to take them out and the rest, right? So Nigeria will put their seal on it so that when the crude oil is sold, they give Nigeria royalty. I don't know how much, maybe 40%, maybe 50%. When you begin to probe that, you realize that they need to break up that shit hole, honestly speaking. There was so much secrecy shrouded in that place, right? That the source of Nigerian revenue is not clear to Nigerians themselves. They have no idea, to the point that for months, for years, nobody had a clue if NNPC was selling crude oil or if they are delivering any money. News were saying that NNPC was not remitting money. The rest of Nigeria just read the news and move on. They are moved on. So under Tinubu, nobody has a clue of how much crude oil they are selling every day right now and how much money they are collecting from it right now as well. Nobody knows, because the stealing of the crude oil continues as we speak. But the central bank governor of Nigeria, who knows that the easiest and fastest way to get their forex is through their crude oil sale anyway. Sure you get, because the other way to make a forex or what have you, to strengthen your naira is to invest in your manufacturing, invest in electricity so that you can invest in manufacturing. When you start manufacturing like China, where China, every corner in China is a manufacturing hub. When you turn that around, those are the things that will strengthen the Naira. When a maker can produce something that can be produced en mass and can be exported to other parts of Africa, including the rest of the world, en mass, so that they who want to come and buy your stuff will need to exchange their money for Naira. If the Europeans are coming, they will need to exchange their euro for Naira to buy all those things from you. If the British are coming, they will need to exchange their money to pounds, their pound sterling to Naira. So they will be the one now buying Naira, not your importers who are going to go and import everything that they sell in Nigeria to Nigeria instead of producing them in Nigeria. I don't blame those who go out to kind of buy them and bring them to Nigeria because it's cheaper, they say. I blame the system that has make you feel like it will take a rocket science to have 24 hours electricity. So if Nigeria has 24 hours electricity, your Naira will gain, more than 50% of its value back, just like that. And if you keep it constant for the next 10 years, which is not possible, it's just a dream, me just kind of imagining with you right now, right? So using our imagination, if you keep it that way for 10 years, uninterrupted 10 years, right? You can then begin to give your Naira a lifeline. Nigeria has that, they don't have that chance because the rogues who are there slaughtering the Naira, they are just there to take whatever they can take to their own benefit, not yours. And that is why the Central Bank of Nigeria will remain empty. Anything that brings in any dollars, they will quickly draw up something to take it away. Not because they want to reinvest it in that your system. No. And a system like that, right? Even if they are telling you that it's going to bounce back, the oil they are just voodoo economies. Voodoo. Pure voodoo. Pure prediction. And Nigeria is at a place, right? It's in a place right now whereby you can tell, except something is done to stop this hemorrhaging, this division and the rest of that, except something is done. About implosion, Loma next year, implosion, Loma last year. And the likes of Cardoso and the rest of them will just take whatever they can and they will disappear. That's how it works. Where are the rest of those who work, who you were seeing with Bokwari the last time? They've taken what they could take and they're gone. And you are left to clean the crackers, or create more. So Cardoso is telling them that the Naira is going to regain its strength. How? It doesn't have to tell you. It just told you there that the oil refineries in Nigeria are going to bring down the price of petrol. And once they bring the price down, Naira will regain its strength. That is number one economist in Nigeria, the central bank governor, under the Bewiri Kolu, or Jaguda Kolu, as Dele Farotimi would like to call him. Said, everything under the Jaguda is fraud. You will be so stupid to actually take any of them to art and expect them to actually do what they say they are doing. If you don't stop them, if nobody stops them, we are all done for. And the likes of Cardoso, or take a risk, for instance, he brought this guy as a FIRS guy. I told you they are just rent seekers, okay? They will say a lot of things. They are politicians, all talks, no action. You will be the one to pay the price. They brought this guy, they say, okay, he's going to be in charge of FIRS. That is Federal Inland Revenue Service, right? And they brought him from Lagos, Tinubu. And then the guy came and he started speaking grammar, this or that, now they are going to make the taxes and all of that stuff. Then he felt like, man, this is dry. I'm going to make them feel like something good is coming. Then he also made that even drier. Remember the student loan? Okay. The student loan in Nigeria, so I have told you this before, that to access their student loan in the face of this hardship, increments in your school fees, the one that affects a lot of you right now. Some of you are parents, some of you are students watching me right now, and you are not sure. Some of you have found a way to pay this term or this semester, and you are not sure what's going to be like to clear it the next time or something like that. Whatever it is for you, the student loan, it is easier. It is so easy to become the Nigeria president who has no certificate, okay, who was a ex-kidnapper or Boko Haram, it is easier for them to become president of Nigeria than for you to have access to that student loan. Do you understand? Do you want me to break it down for you? I will, quickly. Even though they might say to you that it sounded so good to you, poor people, only poor people will access it. Number one, they've managed to make sure that the poor people, children, they will never go to university. The people who are currently about to become, to have the same fate to befall them are the supposed middle class. The already poor in Nigeria, if you see real poor people in Nigeria, they don't even have the capacity to send their children to any school. Nursery school, primary school, or secondary school. Secondary. Some manage to send their children to primary schools. They didn't finish. They just kind of have to take them out. That's the poor people. And they are in the majority as you are watching this video. Or where do you think the children of this over 22 million out of school children in Nigeria, whose children do you think they are? Out of school means those ones who were not like enrolled in any school at all by their poor parents. Some of them are being used as beggars to beg for money for food so that the rest of the family can feed. School care. All of you who are complaining about school fees, university, this, although you are poor, like you consider yourself poor, some of you don't even have any parents anymore, just some support here, support there, and all of that stuff. But you still have people around you that could cough out 20,000, 50,000 to pay this. You are struggling. I'm not disputing that. But you know that you are not poor. If you are poor, you're not going to university like that. I know a lot of you will say, I'm very poor. You still have little opportunities that could fetch you some money that you could put together and pay school fees. There are people that cannot put they cannot put 1,000 naira together. It's impossible for them. And you may think it's impossible, Abi. Like, that's not possible. What do you mean? That's what I'm saying now, right? So people like you who believe that people can never be poor, not to have 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira together at once. At least there are some people that I just give them like 5,000. Is that how they give you 5,000 naira every now and then or every day? There are people who live from hand to mouth, 100 naira, 200 naira. If they see 300 naira in a day, they are like, oh my God. And they also exist in that system, Nigeria. School is not their own. Like school bow. Except somebody just see their children in the area and say, oh, why are you not in school? I said, sorry, my mom and my dad cannot afford school fee. You this young bright boy in Yoruba Union. There have been some children that we have adopted in my own organization, Yoruba Union. So if I am telling you this, I'm actually saying something that I have kind of interacted with. But you see, those of you who are in schools, like you still have uncles, mom, dad, who still run here and there, and they still put the whole thing together and all of that for you. And they said the student loan is for you. It is not for you. So make I explain them for you very well. Before you can access their student loan, you must make sure that in your household, all of your incomes in a year, if they put all of your incomes together, if you have parents, your dad and your mom, if they put their income together, it must be less than 500,000 naira. Do you understand? Then, even if it's you, maybe you are working somewhere and they are paying you 45,000 naira, 50,000 naira, and your school fees is about 800,000 naira, and you think, say, because where you are working, where they are paying you 45,000 naira every month, you are not qualified to take student loan, no? Shogbo? Because if you had 45,000 naira times 10, that's 450,000 naira. 10 months. The remaining 2 months, that's 90,000 naira. That is 540,000 naira. If you are earning anything over 500, anything above 500,000, you are not qualified. That is just the primary one. Yellow simple Jew, the smallest. So you must come from a family that your entire household, everyone in the house, the money that you earn in a month is less than 40,000 naira. Do you understand? It must not be more than 40, just 40. Baba, which family will survive on 40,000 naira in today's Nigeria in a month? Okay. Then after that, if you are now like you are qualified, you qualify that one, you know they hand that thing. Nobody in your family, they hand any, okay. Then you go to the next one. The next one is that you are going to go and look for level 12 civil servant, a retired judge, or what do you call it? A retired bishop, a bishop of your or sheikh of your area. And they must also have properties in Abuja or your state of what do you call it? They must have properties as collateral. Now, once you have all those ones, you will now take the form to the dean of your faculty, as well as the VC of your school, to also sign and approve that everything in this thing is correct. So when you finish that, it is then that you can then submit and wait after your application for approval. Meanwhile, while your application for approval is, hang on. If anybody in your family has defaulted in any loan at any time, or yourself, or if you have been a criminal or a cultist, you will not be qualified to take the loan. I needed to add that, okay? If you are none of those, okay, you're like earning below 40,000 and you are not a cultist, you have not been to jail, and then none member of your family is owing any money or anywhere, then you can now proceed to the part of getting the bishop, getting the sheikh, and the civil servant of level 12 and above who have properties in Abuja and Ondo or Ekiti or somewhere in Odogbolu. And all of that stuff, Shashe, you put all of that. Then your dean or your VC, you go and meet them as well. They will also sign and say, fine. Then you will now submit your application and wait for the approval from I don't know where, but student loan body. And according to them, hey, this is where I knew it's actually a scam, but it's all right. According to them, the money to fund education loan is going to be 1% of the crude oil sales. Did you know that? Yeah, that's what they said. They said 1%. For example, 1% of, Meanwhile, there's something in Nigeria called the Education Tax Fund, 2%. Before profit, tax before profit. All of the businesses in Nigeria are expected to pay 2% of their profit as education tax fund to fund education in Nigeria. The money, nobody has a clue. They deduct all the money and they share it. And you never hear about it anymore. Go and take a look at their education now. So a lot of people are going to drop out. But this guy is now saying, no. We need to harmonize and all the nonsense. But you can tell he's a liar, okay? Like a job man. However, this is the guy telling them that all of these things they are doing with Tinubu, the people should give them time, okay? Give us time. Very soon, look at the student loan too. The student loan, we need money. We need money to fund the student loan. Baba, where is the 10 billion naira that they said they want to give you last year? Otiwa voicemail, I'm telling you. However, this guy is the one Tinubu appointed as the FIRS, those who are picking your pocket as tax collectors, right? They take, they don't give.
How you determine that? For example, like I said, our responsibility is to assess, collect, and account for all these taxes. And if you look at Mr. President's budget, this is the first time in more than 10 years that we're actually reducing our fiscal deficit just as a result of expectation and hope that we have in tax collection. Just in few days ago, Mr. President approved the commencement and implementation of student loan. One of the major sources of income or sources of fund for this student loan is education tax being paid by taxpayer. So I don't know where you will see that it will increase income and you don't see increased services. So now, for the first time in few years, we will have these student maintenance loan, student tuitions loan that we want to give to all the students, to most of the students in our higher institution, and even for skill acquisition. So I don't see where you get that we increase. So as we are increasing our fiscal responsibility and fiscal discipline, you see the direct impact on the kind of services that we are providing. And if you move around in Abuja now, you see that it's becoming a construction site, most especially as far as road is concerned. So I don't know where you will see that it increases and you don't see the impact. We understand, and that is normal. That when you are in this kind, it's like you plane want to take off. It is not the same balancing that you do. This is a taking off time for us. We will soon balance now, where they will have everybody to lose their bed, relax, and continue. This is just taking up. And you will be truthful that you will have seen that we really know what we are doing. We have plan. We understand the enormity of the pain of Nigeria. And we are working day and night, including Mr. Led by how you determine that.
Nuisance Lele.
Those are the idiots that are taking decisions about your economy in Nigeria. And you kind of will sit down there, you will see them in suits, and then different pictures they post about them, and you'll be like, this guy looks serious. So, this guy look intelligent. So, Korofo, the only intelligence they have is on how to walk their way, and empty whatever they can empty from your pockets. They will squeeze you. If you are stone, you will drip water. That's their job. They are Agberos in suits, Agbada Babariga and the rest of them. And the rest of you are waiting. It's like a plane where we take off. Baba, if you use 8 months to take off, when is it going to be time for everybody to loosen the seat belt and enjoy the flight? They are asking you to wait. And guess what? They are already telling themselves that Tinubu has stabilized the exchange rate in Nigeria. No, he hasn't. They said Tinubu's effort has reduced crime and terrorism in Nigeria. No, it hasn't. What are you talking about? They said Tinubu's coming in as, because they have suspended better, that Tinubu is fighting corruption. No, he isn't. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? But in another 4 months now, right, they're going to tell you that Naira and dollar would have been 5,000 if not for Tinubu. The same rogues who told you that Naira would never cross 1,000, that the thing Tinubu was doing, what they were doing was that they need to allow Naira to have a free fall. I don't know if you remember that. They said they wanted Naira to have a free fall. Then when it gets to nearly 1,000 and all that, it will stop and it will just start going down. You remember that video of that useless guy who said he's a pastor inside a church and who was like, people should go and write it down by December. And everybody was shouting, amen! You remember that video? Almost the way they reported my broadcast to. I can't even remember the name anymore. Yeah, at the church, they reported my video that I was mocking God. I said, God. Sometimes in October, this guy came. This was after the subsidy stuff and all of that. Everybody is crying, everybody is screaming, and APC, they were bleeding, and the rest of them were like sweating, waiting be this. They're waiting for palliative from Tinubu. It was going to give them rice and money, but he didn't give them. They were waiting. And so this weary pastor came out and he said, a lot of people are trying to make sure that Tinubu failed, some dark enemies. But Tinubu will surprise them. You see all these dollars and this Naira that is going down, going up and down, right? It's because of Tinubu's enemy. And he told them, he said by December, that Nigerians should go and relax by December, that the Naira will begin to regain its strength against the dollars. And by January, everything will begin to just go down. Price of things will begin to go down. And everybody will just begin to see that everything is changing. Baba, I said, this is a charlatan. The madman reported my video. He said that, I don't know what he told YouTube. And YouTube was like, what would you like to do? Would you like to delete the whole thing or stream it out? I was like, no, I'm not doing anything about it. Let him do his works. So I left it for people to see and continue to see it. You know? The guy is there now. I hope I could see his video again telling them that maybe he meant December 2024. That's what Cardoso said. By the end of 2024, the Naira would have come down. The dollar and Naira would have come down. The price of petrol would have come down and all of that stuff. All talk. When everything else they are doing is in total contrast and contrary to what they are saying. And you are there. Businesses are dying. A lot of you are waiting for money from your relatives, from your husbands, from your wives, from their own families, and all of that to further boost your business in 2024. You don't know, say your neighbor, whose shop is always filled, but she no get customer. You have no idea how much government money they are laundering through that same shop. People, they say they want to start business. You self won't start the business. You can't go pack all your savings, and including the ones you can borrow. You just jump into the business in Nigeria. 6 months after, you don't complain, say, oh, I don't even understand. Everything was fine before, but we don't. I mean, our neighbor here, look at them. They always put on the generator 24/7. Running the generator alone is so expensive. I have to run the generator just a few hours in the morning, few hours in the afternoon. It's affecting our business. And before you know it, all your savings they will begin to go down lower. And before you say Jack Robinson, last song, they know they ask you, say, Baba, you don't go shop today, ni? Say, man, I'm trying to look into other businesses, Jerry. That thing is just like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, a lot of you are currently like experiencing that because these guys, what they say they are doing is not what they are doing. They are doing something else. And that something else they are doing is boomeranging. It's coming back, right? So it's going to hit all of you in the ass. And it's not going to be it's not just going to be the poultry farmers that are, you see me now, I'm kind of using all this because I know that the victims of all this economic failure, they are not limited to any region or any part or any religion in Nigeria. It is everybody with a collector, everybody. I'm only just here to tell you that if you don't stop these criminals, when you see the opportunity to stand up and mobilize and hit them where they least expect, if you don't stop them, Baba, hey, all about full stuff. A lot of you today, the way they have ruined and destroyed the economy, you will only have to just walk just to feed yourself to eat. All right, nothing substantial, nothing progressive, nothing interesting. I promise you, because with your money, right, it's going to just be like you are just living for the day and waiting for the time that you probably will no longer have to continue. I mean, people who used to earn 150,000 naira, 200,000 naira used to buy cars. I told you, this is not a fluke. Yeah, people who used to earn 150,000, 200,000 naira, they used to get car loans in their offices and all of that. They used to buy cars themselves. There were some who would actually travel to the UK, just come and spend the weekend. Yeah, they are not rich or what have you, but they were working and they could afford, what money could buy. Imagine if you are earning 200,000 naira, and you want to go and see your partner in London at the end of the month. This was 2011, right? That's something you could easily just do. I mean, you could save from your 2-3 months salary and all of that and say, I'm taking myself on holiday to London. 96,000 naira there. That is like almost $400. 400 pounds back then. No kidding. No joke. 25,000 naira used to be £100. Yeah, it wasn't good. And some people will tell you, Mayegun, you see that you see £100. It used to be just around 14,000 naira. £100, oh. £100, 14,000, £100, 18,000 naira. £100, 200,000, 20,000 naira. £100. £1,000. Listen to this, oh. £1,000 used to give, could give you just about 220,000 naira. £1,000. And then when you see the ticket that says return to London on Virgin Nigeria or Nigeria Air or Air Nigeria back then, or any other airline that is kind of available, 350 return, £400 return, Baba, and you are being paid there nearly £1,000 in your naira in Nigeria, you could buy it. You could buy that. People were buying that. They were like, this was life that you don't have to be a rich or whatever. If you get job where they do, as bad as Nigeria was. Now those people now, the target, now them don't become the poorer now. Sure you get? Those who used to have all that opportunity. Some of them have become poorer now. Because if you are now earning in that grade in Nigeria, in that level in Nigeria today, you are poor. When a ticket from Owerri to Abuja is being sold for 150,000 naira, and it's just one way, not return, one way. You go Abuja from Owerri, or you are going to what do you call it? You are going to Aba, from Kano, or Port Harcourt from Kano. I'm giving you those places because they are the most expensive destinations in Nigeria. Eastern part of Nigeria, for no reason. If you fly from Owerri to Lagos, Enugu to Lagos at the price of 120,000 naira, and then fly from Lagos to Kano, for 100,000. And this, I'm just saying this because this is just comparison of how devalued the naira has become. In case if you have never thought about it, ever. Now, £1,000 sterling is 1.7 million, nearly 1.8 million naira. Nkoti Nigeria. Ude deep gone. Somebody said that if you have £500 now, £575, you are a millionaire in Nigeria. And I've told you this before. It's so unfortunate that, a lot of you will choose to love and defend the oppressors, even when you are the victims that will face the worst of the worst. Normally, if I want to be selfish, like other wearies that are loving Nigeria from abroad, sure you get, the failure of your criminal leaders in Nigeria actually makes me a multimillionaire, but it's not something to be proud of. We are talking about, it's like somebody from Zimbabwe. You are from Zimbabwe. And then you have 100 million Zim dollar. One single note, 100 million. Instead of 10 naira or 100 naira, you have 100 million naira paper notes. One note. So let's say I'm now from Zimbabwe, and they say £1 is 500 or 600 million Zimbabwean shillings. So £1 makes me a millionaire in Zimbabwe. £500 makes me a millionaire in Nigeria. Now, in few years' time, you are going to be that Zimbabwe of West Africa, where I'm going to sit and say, £1 is going to make me a millionaire. When you have 1 million naira to £1. Somebody said it's impossible. Okay. You have no idea how deteriorating the economy can quickly turn. And it will just be like, what is going on now? What is going on? What is all of this? You are going to go to the store, there will be no food. there will be no supplies. All those companies, all those businesses that are running all the chain of supplies to your stores, you go into your store, you wanted to buy milk and dairy milk and all of that stuff, they are there. You need to get snacks and all of that. You have the money. You see, Nigeria is going to get to a stage whereby you begin to find that all those shelves can no longer be filled. Because what's the purpose? A lot of you can no longer afford them. So you have to go to specific places to get some specific things. Have you read about Venezuela? Venezuela is an oil-rich country. Hugo Chavez, you remember him? These are the powerful figures back in the days. They destroyed Venezuela to the point that Venezuela's money was worthless, so worthless that people could pass the chunk of it on the road without picking any of it up. Nigeria is going to get to that, but they are telling you right now that it is impossible. But guess what? It is far, 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 far possible. It's just a matter of time. It's creeping on you. It's creeping in on you little by little and little by little. A lot of you just sat there and like, how did he get back this way? It's already worse. It is. And the charlatans who are contributing to this from across Nigeria are those you call leaders. Since they are leaders, you're likely never going to want to challenge them. And until the numbers of those who are willing to challenge them really, really pop up enough, man, they are already anyway. Children are actually the real victims now. So that guy was talking about student loan and all the nonsense he was saying there, right? Then he said something about the plane. So that was when that kind of reminds me of the plane crash in Ibadan. I don't know if you heard about that. It was crash landing. The breaking news said that a plane had crashed in Ibadan. Then everybody was like, oh my God, another plane crash in Ibadan. Who are those on it? VVIPs were there. So what happened? Give us their name, did they, that stuff. Everybody was expecting they would give names and say maybe that's it. But it wasn't a sort of a crash per se, but it crash landed when the landing gear of the private casket, the flying casket called the private jet in Nigeria. So it didn't land and they had an emergency landing that by the time it finally kind of, came out, the landing gear finally came out, it was pretty much like it landed on a so kind of ruined tires that could have led to the death of the occupants, by the way. However, it is the crash that is a little bit funny. It's not funny. Life is involved per se, but it's a bit funny. Because I'm like, private jets. Is that not luxury? Is that not something that you have to be like, oh, more next level? Abi? Well, that's the way I would see private jets anyway, except if it is a private mode, a flying mode, or a flying casket or flying coffin. So they said, if you see the parts of this aircraft, private jets, it's like people just deliberately went on something that will probably easily kill them. So they said when the plane landed, they said when the plane finally landed on the tarmac, right? Taxiing and all of trying to kind of brake failed. That was a brake failure. So there's a brake failure inside the plane that the plane had to enter bush before it could stop. Or finally, everyone came down safely, except for those who were probably like scared, right? I'll show you. I think I have a clip of that. Their plane where it first entered bush.